Welcome to Dungeons and Gamers, the hot new podcast by hot new cool people hot on the scene and here to entertain you. I'm Bryce, and I play the half-orc ranger Fergus Bog.
And I'm Erin. I play Cookie Kevler, the Wood Elf Bard.
I'm Beckers. I play Bear, the human barbarian.
I'm Matt. I play Morthos, the tiefling sorcerer.
I'm Darian. I play Belladonna, the high elf rogue.
I'm Katie Quixotic. I am your storyteller and or game master for this and all the other episodes of Dungeons & Gamers. And I want to know what makes me a new person. I'm curious.
Because
Hot new people. What is that?
Because you're not an old person.
You know what? I'll take that answer. I'm satisfied with that.
Like a glass half full.
Yeah.
Last time on Dungeons and Gamers.
Chaotic. That's the only word I can think of to describe today. We started off encountering the sea creatures on the boat. Fergus and Bear managed to pull Bella out of the water with their net contraption, and the creatures then just let us leave. Just like that. I mean, that's great. We have Bella back, and we had no other issues, but that's definitely not how I imagined it ending. We made our way here to Whiterock, a little mining town, and right off the bat, my stomach sinks. Bella jumps back in the water. I guess she wanted to take another swim before we continued on with our task. But turns out she still turns into the mermaid while she's in the water. And then once she's dried off, she turns back into her elven form, which is pretty neat. Right after that, a little girl ran up to Bella and said she wanted to be a mermaid too, and we advised against it. But then Bella and Bear were trying to take a message she was trying to deliver. I had to intervene. Though she did end up showing them the message, which from what I understand wasn't anything too interesting. But anyways, Fergus went off on his own during the time. He's been acting a bit strange since the sea creatures. Not sure what's going on there. Maybe being out on the ocean has affected his ranger senses? We ended up finding him talking to a gnome around a barrel fire. I tried getting Fergus's attention, but he was entrapped with his conversation, and he just went on and on and on and on and on.
So, you're all gathered around Fergus having a very interesting conversation with a gnome with a very long name. The name is probably not longer than the individual, frankly. A few people have stopped at this point to sort of watch almost like a spectacle is unfolding, and there just doesn't seem to be any sign of this conversation really coming to an end.
And anyway, so halflings, see, they're very picky about food like that. And that's why I don't support them or their beliefs or that little freaking... I promised I wouldn't talk about this guy, but... Anyway, so, you take the alligator. Now, you gotta pull off the tail first. And... Someone's got to stop me, or I will.
Do I have to interrupt?
I will literally just keep coming up with
tried.
like bog food recipes for the rest of the session, unless someone's interrupts.
Like Cookie will make eye contact with you, Bear, and be like,
You just gonna hit him?
Let's go. And I'm just gonna like grab Fergus's arm and just start walking somewhere.
Fergus like feels the pull and he's like, "Oh, okay, I guess we're going. Remember, Fergus Bog for King of Faraway. Tell your friends."
Or don't.
I'd like.
He's still holding the card in his hand, just kind of like there was a point where he was writing notes and he had long stopped writing notes. He was just holding it.
You were just absorbing it at that point, like waves crashing against his psyche.
It's his psyche, exactly. Where are you pulling him to, Bear?
I don't know. To the left?
Just away.
Okay.
Just away.
Just away.
Yeah, I don't know where I'm going. Just away. Yeah.
Mhm.
To the left, preferably.
To the left would
Away.
be
I envision which way is the left?
I assume left is closer to the alley where the dude was. I figured
that Bear is wanting to pull you away, so they would pull you like back away from the entrance of the alley.
Yeah.
And left would be continuing away from the ocean.
Yeah.
So
Oh, okay.
Left
So
is good.
towards the forest?
Yeah.
Or
mhm.
town. Yeah.
Oh.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're kind of so this is like one of those small town big villages. There's like a couple of hundred people here. It is very clearly built up around mining, like Bart mentioned. It's backed up against a mountain range. So would you see forest? No. There's, the town sprawling in front of you, and you see a mountain range kind of like following along the edge of the shoreline. And the forest is not for maybe like 20 miles. I'm not sure as a person if you can stand at the foot of mountains and see across like a plains area a forest 20 miles away. It doesn't seem likely to me.
20
So you
miles is
probably
really far to
can't-
see.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think that. Sometimes I have a hard time conceptualizing that. But yeah, you wouldn't see anything that would look like a forest. You're at the base of a mountain range that butts up against an ocean.
Fergus got a 17 on perception. Can he see a forest?
No. No. And not that you can't see like trees, but nothing that would look like a forest to you. Especially because isn't that your favorite terrain?
No.
swamp is.
Yeah.
No, it's swamps. That's right.
Yeah.
It's swamps. I was thinking water because island, but no. Yeah. So, yeah. Nothing that looks like a forest.
Fergus starts, I guess, after being pulled away from the conversation and now being surrounded by the people, he just like starts walking towards the forest that like he was told was outside the city village.
Okay. The way that Ellio had described it, you might have already walked away at this point, actually. So I think you had already walked away, so you didn't get Ellio's description. For everyone else, just as a refresher, Ellio had explained that this was like the drop-off city, and that you would be continuing on through the city and then for several miles before you would get to the forest. But it is beyond the city. So Fergus would be correct in generally just heading across the city.
I believe Fergus knew that there was a forest outside the city before he took off.
I don't know.
Yeah, you might have still been there. I remember there was a moment where you were all together and Ellio was explaining and you were waiting for Bella, and at some point Fergus left.
Yeah. I think it was
call it after that.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it was the conversation of, are we staying at an inn, or do we want to go into the forest or whatever? And
Gotcha.
And then I think Fergus
Okay.
was just like, we're just gonna go. There's no point staying in this town.
Okay. So as this event occurs, Ellio sort of not like takes point, but definitely kind of like moves more towards the general front of the group and starts making their way through the town. I think if I remember correctly, the general consensus had been we'll just take off. Like there's no point in sitting around for tonight and staying at an inn. But then there had been talk about that. So
Yeah, no,
What
Bella
was the
was
final
like,
thing?
I want to go to the Bold Brazier or whatever. So,
sure.
but that's like the only thing that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll cross over a couple of streets, like just move through the city town a bit, and they'll stop at some point and say, "So, do we continue on tonight, or are we staying here tonight?"
I think talking to the gnome, Fergus once he's like stopped focusing on the like food aspect, he kind of like has that moment of like, that guy did say something weird. And then he just kind of goes like, did you guys want to stay in town or what? And he just kind of like eyes people if they're interested in staying in the inn or not.
Nope.
I'm fine with continuing on to where we need to go, but if people need to rest, I'm fine with waiting too. I don't have to sleep, so that I'm good.
We can rest when we're dead.
I'm always down to take it slow.
So
Meaning I'd stay in town if the option's given.
So Bella?
I mean, I wouldn't mind just recollecting ourselves after the crazy adventure we had out on the sea.
Oh.
Fergus goes up. Okay, I'm gonna talk to some people when we're at the inn, but that works for me. And he gestures towards one of the gestures towards where the inns are. Like, take your pick.
I beeline for was it the Brass Brazier?
I think it was the bold.
Hold on.
The Bold Brazier?
Yep, the Bold Brazier.
That one.
So the Bold Brazier, for having such a name, it is remarkably like mundane or plain looking on the outside, but once you cross over the threshold, there is that sort of sense of not necessarily a brothel, but in that type of environment, there is usually a lot more finery and the presentation of wealth or finery, even if that's not like the full lifestyle that the people live. So once you cross over the threshold, you are inside, and there's a lot of really warm tones, reds and golds, beautiful fabrics. There's tapestries on the walls. There's just silk hanging from the ceiling to make it look like the ceiling has like silk clouds hovering at the top. Everything's very warm and comfy and soft looking. There are like lounging benches in this sort of like lobby-esque common area, as well as several tables with really comfy looking chairs where there are a few people having drinks. There's a table of people playing cards, little things like that. And then there's the sort of like, there's like almost like a reception area closer to the door, and that's opposite at the end of the room from what looks to be like where drinks would be obtained from or served from. Who goes in first?
I'll go in
think Bella
first.
did, right?
it sounds
Yeah, I was
like
about
Bella.
to say, it sounds like Bella's.
Yeah. Okay.
Did we all
Yeah.
go that way, or did you, like I think Morthos followed Bella, right? Like he saw her take off, and he's like, okay, let's go, and he went with her.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think Ellio at that point, like kind of helped you along the way of getting to where it was, but then once there hesitated on the outside and let you all choose to go in first. So you're greeted with this vision. Bella is the first one through the door. And after a few moments, a very feminine looking, probably elven individual, maybe half elven, a little bit difficult to tell. Very fine features, but the ears aren't quite as long as you might expect for someone that's not a half elf. They have very immaculately fixed hair. They look like they have a bit of makeup on, like a fine robe almost that they're wearing. Not a robe like a mage's robe, but like a lounging robe kind of thing. And they, yeah, well, yes, but like one of those, like a silk one,
yeah.
like what is the word I'm thinking of? Like the 1950s, like dressing gown
Hugh Hefner
kind
robe.
of, except more of feminine, where it's got like it's not like a short jacket; it's like a long dressing gown,
With like
kind
the
of look to it.
fuzzies, edges,
Yes.
and stuff.
Mhm, mhm. I have one, but with frills instead of fuzzies. I would go get it, but that's a lot. So they kind of make their way over to like a lectern that's on the side that seems to have a thick like guest book or something to it, and just kind of like wait patiently to see what choices everyone makes as they come inside.
I will walk straight over to that person.
Good evening.
Hello. Do you have any rooms available?
We do. We have several rooms available. Are you looking for weekly rates, daily rates, hourly rates,
Just a single night.
single night? Okay.
Hourly rates.
It's a brothel.
That kind of place.
It's a brothel, Bear.
Spicy.
Fancy.
Bear's like, why would you only stay for a couple hours? Like,
See, I feel like Bear would understand
Loudly.
because it's a thing of like, oh, just long enough to sleep. Just take a little bear nap. Peace out.
oh my God. What I almost wish that there were places where I could just go for like, if I were traveling or something, she'd be like, I just need like a 3-hour nap. That where I don't have to make the bed. Like, just let me go sleep somewhere. That'd be
I
so
think
funny.
there's some airports with like resting pods or something like that.
Oh,
where you can
yeah.
do
Sure,
that.
but then you
I
have to be
think it
getting on a
depends.
plane.
Right. I mean, you're in an airport. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. You said just tonight, and they asked how many rooms.
I'll look to see if any of the people in my group came in, and I'll say, that's up to them. I just need one room, and I would like the room with the best atmosphere, please.
The best vibe,
I'm gonna
if you will.
poke up. I'd
The
like one of those
best
too.
vibe.
I would like one of those as well.
The best vibe. We have many different vibes available. It depends on what suits
Pick your
you.
flavor.
There are more botanical settings. There are ocean-themed rooms. We do have, and they pull from like below the lectern somewhere. They produce these like small, intricately carved like stone figurines. It looks like, and by almost, it seems like they just kind of like touch the top of it. Like ambient sounds start playing, and one of them plays like ocean waves, and one of them plays like nighttime summery leaves in the trees and cricket sounds and things like that. And they go through a couple of different ones with kind of like different aesthetics, I guess. What do you think would be something that would appeal to Bella? They have like those sort of like nature settings.
The summery nighttime sound in one, probably.
Okay. I think we have. And they flip through the book. Yes. Should be easy enough. Would you like a similar atmosphere? She turns to Morthos.
Anything but the ocean. Yeah.
Anything about the ocean? Did you just arrive on the ship?
Yeah. We just took a long ride.
Very long ride.
Ooh.
That is common amongst people who have just arrived by boat. They, again, have kind of, it's almost like one of those like sound machines that people can get at night, just like general settings. There's like a thunderstorm one.
Just like a TV static. Do you have that? No.
TV stuff. They don't have anything like that.
White noise.
Mhm. So they'll produce 2 keys that look very similarly. The building itself looked like it was probably several floors, maybe 3, and it looked of fairly decent size from the outside. It's hard to say how many rooms there might be specifically. Very well. There's 2 of similar origin. Is it necessary that they be adjacent or joining?
They don't need to be joining. No, that's fine.
Okay.
I think Morthos at the same exact time says, "Oh yeah, they can be adjoining."
They'll like glance from one to the other and just continue holding the keys that they already had present. That will be a single gold piece for an evening, unless you would like any of the specials or full service options that are available.
What are those options?
Bear has come in behind.
And then Bear appears next to
Full
Belladonna.
service.
She produces a leather and cloth bound book. It has that sort of texture of like quilted fabric almost. So it's like a little bit puffy, but not overly. So, and it's got some fine, like illuminated manuscript style, like imagery and stuff on the front. And when you open it up, it's almost like a menu, like a catalog. And there are like bath options, there are companion options, there are like the different like room styles, and there are options for included meals and drinks and things like that.
I'm not sure which one you're smiling more for, the food or drinks or the companionship.
And there's varying levels of companionship, like somebody to sit and have a meal with and chat with. There's like massage options, further fade to black style options.
I will leaf through this book and I will find like an essential oils like scent thing. I'll pick out a specific scent that I want in the room, and also a meal and a really fancy wine to be served to the room after I've had an hour to settle and meditate and stuff.
Hey, Belladonna. Are you babysitting?
No, I need some me time. I need some time to decompress, and I have a good amount of money, and I almost died today. Yesterday, not sure. I need to relax.
It's like who's taking the kid if everyone's getting their own rooms?
I'm sure the kid can take care of themselves. They're not just a kid, they're just a young person. Don't be disrespectful.
How old is Fergus?
Fergus is, I would say, 25-ish. But
You're like a few years older than Ellio.
Okay.
Like a few years. They're like a late, like they're super young for an elf.
Yeah.
Because elves can live for like 800 years, right? But they're literally only like five or so.
Sure.
Like a 19 or 20-year-old.
Yeah, exactly.
There's maturity
Fergus
levels.
is a tough guy, right? He's like a kid, you know.
Yeah.
Fergus hadn't actually entered the room yet, so that conversation was... OOC.
Oh.
Okay. Fergus still outside.
Okay. So, you finish your selections, and she says, "Of course, we can have them sent up in about an hour if you desire them earlier. You will see the method with which you can request them in the room."
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Takes your gold, hands you a key.
How much gold?
One gold piece for the evening.
That was it for even for the extras.
A gold is a lot.
A gold is a lot
of money.
Yeah, it's like this is like a midline. It's hard to relate to modern day stuff. They have invested in finery, but they don't make their money off the rooms. So just getting a room itself when they have some is a room could only be a couple of copper or a silver piece. So this is still like 10 times more expensive than even like a typical in room. And the add-ons, like something like the essential oils and the food and the bottle of wine, comes to like a silver piece, you know, because if you want really super fancy wine, you could get wine that is like a couple more gold piece, like a gold piece or so. But you know, things are pretty reasonably priced. And when you flip through the menu, you see that the more expensive editions tend to come with the companionship.
Yeah, pass on that part. No thanks.
That's fair. Introvert.
Morthos is like, taking one of everything. He's just
okay.
He's looking to treat himself.
Absolutely.
You'll have some company tonight.
Oh, everything.
Yeah.
Oh,
Everything.
everything. Well, that's how I interpreted that anyway.
Yeah, everything on the
You want
menu.
some full.
Yeah. There are rosters available now or in your room. Should you so desire, if you're ready to decide at the moment. You can also have a brief interview process depending upon your particular desire.
I'm sorry, Beck. It's just the look on your face.
I think Morthos is gonna like look at the list real quick, and he's just gonna pick a name. He's just gonna pick,
Okay.
at random.
Are we
Kind of.
rolling a D whatever for list of people?
Oh my god, yes, actually.
Oh gosh.
And
yes,
I'll
please.
theme it. I'll theme it appropriately.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
So there are different levels of companionship and there are different rosters available for each level of companionship. Would you want a different person for each one or the same person for each one?
Uh,
And
A
it's clear
different
by the
person.
menu.
it's
Different
clear
person?
that it's okay.
Okay.
So Morthos knows that he's getting like a friend to talk to, and then like a masseuse, and then like a
Mhm.
fade to black.
And it's
Sexy
clear
time.
because, yes, it's clear because some names are similar and there are like pictures and like little notes about the person.
Oh man, there
in
had to be
each
pictures.
roster.
I was hoping he would pick somebody who was like one of those rabbit people or something. I don't know.
I mean,
Hairy
it
one.
sounds like he's
Yeah.
just poking at the menu, so it seems
Yeah.
like he's not looking. He's
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah. So you could feasibly do like a pick a name, see if it's available for the other ones and choose to pick another one or not. Like it would be up to you. There are several names that are on all three rosters. So if you wanted to do that way, you could, and it would be very easy at a glance for him to tell that. Or if he literally wanted to like boop, 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 he could totally do that too.
I think he'll. So I was thinking like he points at one, and whether or not like it's that person's available, then he'd have to pick
Okay.
somebody else, right?
Okay. we
Whatever
could do
they
it that
offer.
Way. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead and roll that 1d100.
34.
Okay.
34.
Who's number 34?
Okay, this is so perfect.
I'm so
Okay, so
excited.
this person, let me roll something really quick.
the gang goes to a brothel.
That's what this episode's gonna be.
This person is available for dinner and conversation and for Fade to Black. They are referred to as Dr. Verm.
They call me Dr. Good morning.
They are described as a doctor and aspiring musician. They're a human of average size, like classically attractive,
What do you mean by average size?
like height and build.
Okay.
Oh.
J-Dubbin.
Because
J-Dubbin.
there are cosmetic sorcerers in this world, so
Does it say how big their dick is?
that is something that would be part of the interview process.
Really? I would honestly expect that to be on the piece of paper of like, this is what they're working with.
This is what they're twerking with.
Yeah.
I think that's the sort of thing that like would be on maybe not like the interview process, but the way I would see like the interview process would be like I want more information about each of these if that was the sort of thing that a person wanted to know, because some people don't care. They would just pick by picture, or they would, close their eyes and put their point out with a finger, something like that. But then there would be like more detailed biographies, and then if you wanted to get like a feel for the person, then you could have like a brief chat with them. So I forget why I even started saying that. What was it? Oh, dick size, right. It does not include that. But what did I say? In the brief little like background blurb, it mentions that their love of music came from meeting like a traveling group of bards, and it inspired them to pursue that as well as
Wait,
medicine.
is I know you're pulling from an NPC list here, but like
Mhm.
is the inspiration for this though They Might Be Giants song? Because Dr. Worm played the drums. He liked to play the drums, and he thought he was getting pretty good at it.
It's Verm with a V.
Well, yeah, but
I don't
it's
know.
like
I don't know
Dr.
what you're
Worm.
talking about.
Oh, you should listen to the song.
Mike Wazowski is apparently on this list, so I have a feeling there could be references on the list.
Yeah, very
This
well.
is
could be.
definitely the They Might Be Giants song, Dr. Worm, and I love it.
Like this is such a cool little list. Like it's got the description, appearance, a little bit of background. It's got like possible side quests or plot hooks, items that they carried. For instance, since this person won't be applicable to that, one of the things it mentions, side quest or plot hook, Verm only ever does a few things: heal people, tries to, plays music, eats, and sleeps. They hardly do the last one, so he's likely helping someone. Helping someone up is what it says. Lol. If the party is injured and he's around, he's going to be the first to run over and try to help. He might take interest in one of the party members if they're a bard. So it gives like fun little stuff like that. So if it ever sounds like it's inspired by something, they probably, because some of them don't have, there's like blank spots for that type of stuff. So I feel like if it's very like referencey, it probably is exactly a character. If Morthos had a preference for like gender expression, then there would be an option to pick from specific lists too. So that's something that you can tell me, and then I can either flavor the NPC appropriately or whatever. He's
not concerned because he's not planning on having any like sexy time.
Gotcha. Okay.
He's just gonna be like completely platonic, but
I love it.
Wants them to hang out all night. Wants to, yeah.
And then, so if you wanted to, they're not available for the massage services.
So I have to pick somebody else.
A second person.
All right.
Be like, okay, I'm gonna have dinner with you, but then you gotta leave because my masseuse is coming in.
Number 21 on the list. Are they a masseuse?
Ooh, lucky number 21. Let's see how lucky. Well,
Blackjack.
Berwyn, also human. He looks to be in his early 20s. He's a little taller, based on he's about 5'11". Also classically attractive, brown hair, blue eyes. He's handsome until he talks when he sounds like a country bumpkin is one of the notes. So that will come up at some point during your massage. He'll have a real thick southern accent.
So precious.
But he's got real nice soft skin and he's got real strong hands.
Is he single?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Oh, Bear found hers.
Let me look.
Let me look at his dating profile.
Doesn't mention anything about having any attachments in the NPC.
I'll actually take that one.
Oh no, Bear swiping him. I'll just take any available masseuse. That's fine.
Okay. I'm gonna roll then. I love that like Morthos is standing there with the book and Bear's like looking like I would say over his shoulder, but more like around his shoulder. And Morthos like points and Bear's like, yeah, that one, I'm taking that one. Berwyn is available for all three
it's like mine.
levels. Yeah.
Our couple name would be so good.
Berwyn! Sorry. Berwyn is available for all three levels, so Bear can choose Bear's particular flavor.
Oh my God. Are you blushing, Beckers?
No.
This is actually really great. So when that happens, Morthos, you go to pick the next one, and your finger lands on Liliana Moonweaver, a tiefling.
Oh, hey.
Her little picture shows her to have really dark red toned skin. She has large kind of sweeping horns. It looks like she's got a forked tail you can kind of see in the back of the like profile poking up. She looks like she's lived a life of finery. Has that kind of like air about her that is like noble born or high born or at least moneyed. Something like that. Mentions that okay, well, I'm not going to put that in the thing.
Oh.
One of her interests is, it was like, turns into a swan at midnight if she doesn't do a ritual. That's not going to be in the blurb. In her background information, it includes that she...
Good. Like mid, be like, hold on, you got to help me with this ritual real quick before we got to...
Or, what is the ritual?
Yeah.
Ooh, you got to fuck every night or else you turn into a swan.
That's not really much of a curse, is it? Okay. I guess it depends on the person.
Not if you're a brothel worker.
Well,
Nope.
if people don't pick you, then you're like, please, like, heavy discount tonight. Come on, I need this. I need this.
In her biography, it mentions that she has an animal companion who is a giant owl who's named Frederick the Winged. And there's like a small side picture of Frederick with a little like bow tie who looks very distinguished.
Not to be confused with Frederick the Wonged, who is number 77.
Oh my god. Okay, so those are your selections. Room keys are handed out. Single gold is all that's taken at the moment. Anything else will be collected upon services rendered. You three can choose to go to the bar, to get some food, to go up to your rooms, whatever.
I got more I want to buy.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
So I've been reading this book. I want like one of all the food things. And then I want like a mud mask. This is just me living vicariously right now. And then we'll have.
I don't think it's vicariously if it's you. Oh, you're living through Bear? Beckers
is vicariously living through Bear right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is what D&D is about, living out your fantasies.
Truly, truthfully. Yeah.
Mud mask. I'm going to have a bath, full body massage from Berwyn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Berwyn.
Yep. Berwyn.
I remembered him as Berwyn and I knew it wasn't right.
Honestly, Colin Berwyn, I'll know who you're talking about. As soon as you said our couple name would be great, my brain went, Berwyn. It's in there now.
Is it possible to upgrade after
you started?
After the initial purchase? Because we might start at level 1 and just like see how we get along. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. That's built in, and you can have those conversations as they arise.
Well, we'll see. And you know what? He might not even charge me because like I really feel a connection to this person I haven't met.
What themed room did you pick?
Oh, I remember ocean, and what else was there?
So there were, as you're flipping through the book, there were the things that you overheard this person mentioning to Bella and Morthos. Bella had inquired about relaxation room themes, things like that, had not inquired about other specific services. So in addition to like relaxing vibes rooms, there are also like romantic themed rooms or specific interest themed rooms and things like that.
Romance or spaceships.
Caves.
I'm so glad that spaceship.
I was thinking, medieval. I was like, wait, we're in D&D.
Y'all are very
Romantic
precious to
or
think that what I
normal.
meant was spaceship or medieval themed when I said romantic or specific interest. Very cute.
That's the
Very
specific interest is spaceship.
Some rooms come with costumes available.
I want one of the botanical themed rooms.
Okay.
And do you have any people who do stand-up comedy? Because I really would like that. I think that would be good.
Bear wants to be chilling in a very gardeny room while getting a massage, possibly more, while a stand-up comedian performs.
I mean, the comedian can leave. I just wanted me and Berwyn, we will enjoy his set and then massage, and like we'll be eating lobster and other stuff. And
Is
then
Bear
we'll
looking for like
have a
type
nice
5
evening.
for like a full hour set?
I mean, we'll see.
He does.
See what
Bear
happens.
doesn't really care about money.
So the like hostess, she leans over and she flips some pages of the book over, and there are additional services. Like they have a few like on-call bards, and there are some that are more music inclined, some that are like storytellers, and some that are more prone to like funny. I wouldn't call them like comedians because I'm not sure. I mean, I guess that probably does exist in this world. What would be?
I mean, to be fair,
Like a street performer
A
type
jester.
thing?
Yeah.
Becker's character in Baldur's Gate Baddies is a comedian.
Is a stand-up comedian.
There we go. And yeah, absolutely. They're bards, so it's like can do music, can do stand-up comedy, can do both at the same time. Oh my god, it's like Bo Burnham is on call basically, but like
Bards literally have a spell that involves insulting someone to damage them.
yeah, Vicious mockery, yeah. I wouldn't advise using that during your set. You'd probably kill somebody because a commoner has like 1 HP. But,
Dude,
Yeah.
imagine an assassin who like uses vicious mockery to like kill people as part of a performance.
That's cool.
I've played a bard before who accidentally got the killing blow on like a high level big bad, not Veil campaigns big bad, but a high one when they were just like out of everything and they just like mocked them to try to give them disadvantage and they died. It was amazing.
That's awesome. Oh,
Mhm.
wow.
So yeah, comedians are available, Beckers.
Okay, we
Bear,
will take.
I mean, Bear.
We will take. Oh, easily
no.
confused. I wanted this too.
If Becker's ever went to a place like this is what she would get.
Yeah. Oh, and there you can pick like themes for like what the comedy or the music would entail or the stories would entail. So you
I
can
want his
pick-
best material. Whatever
And you
he
can also
feels
not limit
strongest
it.
about.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very
I think we're good. How much do I owe you? Bear's just gonna dig in her purse and just pull out like a handful of gold and be like, "Is this enough?"
How much gold does Bear have?
40 gold.
How big would you say Bear's hands are?
Bear sized.
Let's say she like 20 gold. Let's try that.
Okay. Well, I was just gonna roll for you. Yeah, you grab a fistful. It's about 20 gold probably, and she says, We'll take this and consider anything above the single room charge as a deposit for now, and then I'm sure that this should cover anything that you desire. And you can receive whatever is remaining when you leave.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Hands you your key.
Ooh.
And when you get to your rooms, there's like it looks like a little bell, and when you ring it, you don't hear anything. But it has like they're like explanations. So a little bell. If you need anything, ring it. You won't hear anything, but somebody will come and ask you what you need. There are like checkoff forms that you can fill out for if you've ordered a meal, what you want, what time you would like for it to arrive. There's like thresholds of time, right? And things like that for, companionship. What time would you like for them to arrive? Things like that. Do you want them to be wearing any specific like perfumes, colognes, things like that? So you can make all those selections just like as you go. You don't have to like come down and talk to them every time you need something. It's very like self-serve, easy. It's delivery based.
I love how like we were like, oh, we'll probably leave, and then we're like, do you guys want to stay? And now it's the most elaborate fucking thing.
Yep.
They've had a really stressful couple of days. This is exactly what you would
Bear
do.
had
in this
no
situation.
idea that this would be the way it is, and she's just thrilled. What a happy surprise.
I love it.
Can you remind Bryce the player what the gnome was saying about the nefariousness of the city? There was like there was a new dude who was bad. Like
New dude who was bad. So they during the conversation when you were talking about different foods and things, they mentioned that they were in the area for like research purposes as they were taking notes, I believe, of your various like meals. It was very much the scene reminded me of like the Forrest Gump, like boiled shrimp, fried shrimp, shrimp stew, shrimp salad. But instead of like cleaning latrines with toothbrushes, he's back there like making notes. He mentioned that he was here researching some changes in the city. There had been a lot of expansion, a big boom. It didn't really seem very clear exactly why things had changed, but there had been some new arrivals, like business people, like some merchants that like came and settled in and took interest in the mining operations. And I think that was as far as they got before you changed, or you just like we're talking about food stuff again. I'm pretty sure that was as far as they hadn't mentioned any specifics, and it didn't seem inherently nefarious, but it was notable to them that operations in this town had been kind of even keel expectations until like a certain point, and then there was like a big expansion. and a big like output of goods, and it just didn't follow typical trends.
The other inn was called like the something's daughter.
The miner's daughter.
Coal miner's daughter.
Coal
I believe.
miner's
Yeah, the
daughter.
coal miner's daughter.
Yeah, coal miner's daughter. Yeah.
And like Fergus takes a look over. At that one, does it feel more like a place where like the miners might hang out? I guess
It's definitely more like your typical adventure tavern that's like in a town. It's got its own little like food options, and it's mostly about people coming there after work at the end of the day, getting a meal, having some drinks, but it has rooms for travelers and adventurers to stay in. Very much more straightforward like that. Absolutely. Over the door, under the sign, there's a sign that says a coal miner's daughter, and over it is 2 crossed pickaxes.
All right, then yeah, Fergus is gonna go in there, and he's gonna like find wherever like it looks like you would ask for food.
Okay. There's a person tending bar in a bar area there, but you can see the door that swings behind it as people like the serving staff comes out with meals and drinks for people, and it's pretty clear that you could either sit down at a table and they would come over and ask you, what you're looking for, or that you could just go up and get it yourself.
I think he's gonna go up to the bar and I guess see if there's a menu or like a sign or something saying what food's available.
Sure. Oh yeah, there's like would they have chalkboards? When was a chalkboard invented?
I feel like there has to be like you can write with rocks and they'll make a chalk.
Charcoal.
Yeah, that has to be a thing from back then. Someone had to have to figure out a chalkboard pretty early.
I figure that there's like a big wooden panel that's very rustic looking, and there's like a rag tucked at the bottom, and there's like big chunks of like chalk rock looking stuff, and they've marked out like the daily special is very much like a meat and potatoes kind of meal. There's a stew, a hearty stew that's got venison in it, and there's like a couple of baked goods, like little hand pies of different berry flavors.
Fergus will order like the beef stew.
Okay.
And he will go sit down at a table where there is already people.
Okay. Yeah, there are a couple of like round tables where there's chairs around it, and then there's a couple of more like picnic style like bench tables. Would you like sidle up on a bench next to people who are chatting, or like take one of the seats available at a table full of people where it looks like there's obviously an empty space?
He's looking for people that like look like they live there. So wherever like, he'd see like miners or whatever, wherever they're sitting. And if they're sitting at the benches or the tables, it doesn't really.
The benches. It's very much like there's like these lines of people, all sorts, various races, various gender expressions, but they all have in common a little bit of like daily like dirt, like like the black kind of smear on the face sort of thing. That they're wearing like similar like spun shirts, like trousery pants, and they're all sitting down, and they've got the like suspenders off and are sitting there eating and laughing, having drinks and having a good time.
So Fergus got the beef stew. He also ordered like the venison-y stuff, and he got a second bowl of that he like sets next to him on the floor for Rascal to eat from.
I love that. Yeah. And no one bats an eyelash at Rascal coming in, getting a bowl of stew too. Like, obviously, very straightforward.
I think Fergus actually ordered like more of the venison than he did of the beef stew.
Okay.
It's just like a bigger. I just want to say it's a bigger bowl.
Have you ever been to a pho place?
No.
Okay, so pho, there's always the like regular size bowl, and it's a good size, like normal soup bowl, and you get a normal amount of food that a person can consume, and that looks very reasonable. And then when you get the large, it's like someone cut a pumpkin in half, and the whole bottom half of the pumpkin is the bowl of pho. That is what happens. You get your regular beef stew comes out, and then the venison one comes out, and it's like a trough. It's huge.
And then Fergus like takes that, sets it down on the floor for Rascal to eat from.
Okay.
And Fergus just sits down next to the miners, and he just kind of like takes a a big spoonful of beef stew and just kind of like sighs and goes, long day, and he just kind of like eyes the miners around him.
There's a person across from you. Roll me a 1d12.
4.
There is another half orc sitting across the table from you. They have long hair. It looks like it's like pulled back in like very tight plaits, braids. They look up as you say that and kind of sigh and look over Rascal and kind of smile and says, "You one of those adventurers? Look the part."
I suppose some people call me that. I'm just a guy. I've done about every kind of work at some time or another, but you could say that I'm on an adventure. I suppose I treat every day like that. And he just kind of smiles and looks at the person and be like, what line of work are you in?
I'm a miner. I suppose if you're not from around here, that might not be obvious. Done a few odd things myself as well. I just was curious, what is a long day for an adventure? You see all kinds of exciting things.
Oh, I mean, long days, about 3 days. I think I've had to stay up once, but I suppose today's not that long a day. But sometimes you just you think you're done with the day, and then it just keeps coming.
Can't rightly tell if you're being glib with me or if this is something that was said seriously.
I mean, Fergus is being serious. It's one of those things of like you're traveling, you're doing things, and then you're being attacked by goblins, and you're like, guess day's not done.
That's fair. Yeah, they didn't seem. Well, make me an insight check because I figure you would like you're explaining, gauging reaction kind of thing.
Insight is 5.
They didn't sound bothered by it. They sounded like they were genuinely asking. Like, or not asking, but like genuinely just stating, like, I can't tell if you were trying to be funny when you're answering or if this was said seriously.
Oh, I'm serious as the day is long. And he kind of smiles at that one. Like he originally didn't, like halfway through the sentence, he was like, oh, that's a fun thing to say. And and he goes, how about yourself? How'd the day treat you?
It was a good working day.
Oh, I'll be honest. I've never mined before. I've fished. I've been on boats. I've swamped. I mean, that's what my dad called it. It's just doing swamp stuff. But
swamped.
Yeah, we just swamp. Right. Some days you just get swamped. And
there's like a chuckle from the table, and a few other people have taken interest in your conversation. It says, well, we working on a new vein. Canary didn't die. Supports are strong. It's a good day for me.
You have a lot of canaries die, or is it you guys been working safe? Because now I don't want to cause any trouble. I've never been to this town before. This last town I was at, some workers I met unionized. And I don't know if that's something you guys would be interested, but I do know a guy who might be able to help you out. If you got unsafe working conditions, I know a guy who helped unionize this past place I was at.
They all kind of like there's a chuckle from the whole table. She kind of looks over at the rest of them, says, "Thinks that miners don't know what unions are." Not to say we invented them or anything, but being on the process. I think we're going to cut back to the other end for just a moment at the like table chuckle of everybody kind of like, you get the feeling that there's no like standoffishness, like they're interested in having whatever conversation that you're having with them so far and that your presence is like accepted. I'm wondering what Cookie's doing after seeing Fergus split off.
I wonder that too.
I'm trying to decide what she's doing.
Do you want a little more time? We can go back to the mining conversation if you'd like.
No, Because I'm trying to think. Because originally I was thinking maybe she would go to like either because I pictured she was like with the group as they were like picking their stuff out or whatever.
Yeah.
And originally she was just gonna like just kind of hang out with Bear, but it seemed like she was like, I'm just gonna kind of leave. Let her do her own thing because I'm not totally sure what's gonna happen.
Yeah, that didn't even take an insight check.
Yeah, and she doesn't really want to get a room because I don't know, she's just kind of she doesn't sleep, and so she's like I think she would just maybe hang out with. Did Ellio come in with us? I don't remember what you said.
Ellio's waiting, like basically kind of like waiting until everyone else is settled. So the two of you have been kind of like floating around the back of the group. They'll peek over and look in the book sometimes as you are. And they, I think at one point they probably like drifted off and went and got themselves a drink and have like made their way back over and are just kind of like waiting patiently for everyone to figure out what they're doing.
Yeah, I think maybe she would invite Ellio and maybe go see what Fergus is doing since he didn't come in. I guess, did I see that he went to the other place? Because is the other place just like really close by?
It's like down the street, but you could like, if everyone piled in and Fergus either like stepped in and left or Fergus never came in, like you keep an eye on where your group is. You could easily have like poked your head back out and like watched Fergus walk down the street into the inn, and like you might not know specifically that that's a coal miner's daughter, but there's like the two crossed pickaxes and like you know where it's at.
Sure.
You know.
I think maybe she would go down and hang out and see what he's doing.
Okay.
Maybe join in. Because I could see Cookie maybe wanting to see if she could get any information about like their mission about, you know, the Thieves Guild and stuff. I don't think she really knows how to really go about that since, you know, it's the Thieves Guild or the Guild. She wants Ellio like around with her to like kind of help with that. But I think she's like, well, maybe we can find out something while we're here. Sort of. She's kind of thinking of that. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think you'll stop and have a conversation with Ellio before you enter into the other place? Or do you think that you'll just kind of like figure out what Fergus is up to and then talk with Ellio a bit more later, or like quietly at the table, or just say it in such a way that you're not like, so what is this mission that we're on for your Thieves Guild that you're a part of? You know, like whatever. You can be clandestine about it.
I guess I could see her kind of going like, you know, it's like, since we're here, is there a way we can maybe find out some information about that, or can we like, I guess I'm not sure how to go about to try and help with that since we're here, or do you think we should just take it easy?
Rumors are always good. Information is valuable.
Okay, well maybe we can just go to this other place where Fergus is hanging out and just see what he's up to, and maybe if we hear something while we're there, we can note that for our mission.
And if you have any questions, I can try to answer them.
I'm sure she does, but Eric can't think of questions at the moment.
Totally fair. Totally fair. So you two make your way over there, and I feel like the time it took to kind of like watch everyone else get their like rooms and orders of varying like complexities settled, and you head back over, you kind of like enter into the other place as you see the like chuckle from the table and Fergus having this conversation with a bunch of people who look like, if Cookie would be familiar with like a general like mining aesthetic, would probably pick that out at the coal miner's daughter, but if not, then people who clearly are like skilled laborers that work in the world, like physical work.
I don't think she'd probably be able to pick them out, as even though the place is called the miner's daughter. Well, I guess maybe she would, because she knows this is a mining town, so maybe she would be able to figure that out. But as they walk in, she'd probably go and, you know, get something to eat or whatever. And if there's room at the table, she'd probably just go and sit right next to Fergus.
Okay. So you see Cookie comes in, and she comes after a few moments, comes back with some food and sits down.
Hi, Fergus. Can I join you?
Sure.
Okay, and she would just sit and probably just eat and just if you guys were like already talking, just let you go.
Yeah, I think Fergus is like fully talking to the people that he's like he like half hears Cookie even like talk to him. He's just like, yep, and goes back to talking to the miners.
Mhm.
You one of his adventurer friends?
Oh, well, I guess you could say that. We have gone to some places together, yeah?
What's a long day for you?
Well, I'm an elf, so I don't really sleep. So it could go a while.
Eternity.
An elven-looking individual at the far side of the table. There's a chuckle from that side.
Fergus goes, I was talking to a gnome when I came into town. He says you guys have been putting out a lot more than usual. You guys get some new workers in here?
Putting out.
Not everyone's
That's happening at the Bold Brazier.
What an episode.
Depending on how that massage goes, there might be putting out.
See how strong those hands are, right? Becker's disappears. Yeah, business has been good. Made some changes. Sometimes it just takes looking at things a new way, apparently. Get more done.
How do you look at a mining? Did they come out with new mining? I mean, I've never mined before, but I feel like I would have heard if mining got different.
Minecraft
The mining
2.
hot fix. Yeah.
You got a hot update on mining?
DLC.
That sounds like a boss kind of question for me. I just do the work.
Yeah, but I mean, he kind of like looks at the guy of like, yeah, but workers do the work, and all the jobs I've been doing ain't nothing get done no matter what the boss be saying. If nothing's coming out of those rocks, if you ain't doing it.
Suppose that's true. I don't feel like I've done much different. I think when I say boss level question, supports go up faster than they used to. Product gets moved faster than they used to.
You got more workers?
None that's doing the mining.
You just got and
Listen, I hate to break it to you. I go down in the black, I do my work, come back out of it. I know we've done well. We've all got some bonuses. People have been moving into town. We got a new boss. If that helps you.
tell me about this new boss. Okay, I mean, if this guy is just magically making business work better, I gotta meet this guy. I gotta learn his secret.
1 second as I go and look for the name.
Is it Emilio?
Dun dun dun.
Everyone in town is named Emilio. Like
Emilio, who had a bowl of stew and had been sitting at another table, is like, oh, no, I've been found. My ridiculously circuitous plan is 1/4 complete.
His monocle falls off.
I forget to write down the name. Roll me 1d100. Just so I can get a name.
Come up with a play on Jeff Bezos quickly.
27.
You did it. No, I think I just forgot to name them. And this will just give me some stuff to go on. Oh my god, this is the
Jeff
best.
Barrows.
Jeff Barrows. This table has led to so many perfect moments. Oh, I only met him a couple times. Nice fellow. Short though. Halfling. Name's Holton. Mr. Tomal.
What's his name?
Holton.
Holton?
Holton Tomal. I don't know how halfling names works.
Fergus just kind of like, I don't know, pulls his head back as he kind of hears that name. I'm like, that's a weird name. And like having just heard the gnome's name, just been like, yep, that's the name. Nailed it.
It's just that he's a halfling. He's just like, that's
a dumb name. But Fergus goes, does he come hang out with you guys here? Where's he at?
Not usually. He's put on a couple dinners
Oh,
where he's fed us and done some schmoozing and such. Talks to the union organizers more often than us, I suppose.
I suppose the best place to meet this man's at the mine. Where you guys be mining lately?
The table laughs and a couple people gesture broadly in the direction of the mountain range that backs up against the town. Oh, here and there. Depends on where we're at that day. There's a couple of different veins that we're working on, couple of different entrances.
Yeah, but
I don't know how familiar you are with operation.
Where's the foreman set up shop?
Oh, the foreman's out and about daily operation. Well, the owner is usually found in their house on a hill, so to speak.
Oh, really? Huh. Well,
It's near the mines. I mean, I don't. You're asking an awful lot of questions that you feel like a personal assistant might know. I can tell you that he's around often enough.
Does he have a personal assistant?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
Does Holden have an assistant? Kind of shouts down the table. Everybody, some quiet talk amongst themselves, and somebody pipes up. Well, he does always have that one person follow him around. Might be an assistant.
Oh, dang! I was hoping to learn about being his assistant, but maybe I'll go have a word with him and learn how you just mine better. Because I'll tell you this. So I come from the kingdom of Far Away, and I am.
Is it far away?
It is.
Sorry.
It is. I mean,
Quite.
I hear that the people originally came to the kingdom. There were no people there, and someone was like, "Hey man, this place is really far away from where we came from." And they're like, "Great name. That's it. We nailed it." And that's how it got its name. I mean, I don't know if that's true. That's just what my dad told me this one time. He was drunk. He was very, very drunk when he told me that.
Well, it does sound like a practical way to name a place.
But thank you for telling me this information. Don't forget to vote in your union contracts. I swear to God, there are some people who are not out there supporting their unions. And I know you folks, you look like union supporters. And I come to some of these towns and they're like, unions? And I'm like, you are not good people. You people here, not good. Unions, get on it. Have a good night. And he throws 5 copper pieces on the table and is just like, food's on me. Is 5 copper right about the price of their meals?
I'll say that you choose the right amount based on what yours was worth and how many of them there are. I was picturing there to be a good group of 7 or so. So probably more 7 or 8 copper. But I mean, that's a small difference. So
yeah.
Sure, you can grab a handful and toss them on the table and it looks like it's about right.
Oh. And then but Fergus had been eating his stew in between words that he's finished his bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And I assume Rascal's finished his, or at least as full as Rascal can get based on the amount of food that he was given.
Rascal eats it all. It's a lot of it's liquid, stew. It is a nice thick stew. 2 or 3 C's. He definitely is he finishes though and does the sit down, pants a little bit. He doesn't get the meat sweats, but he's kind of close.
And then yeah, Fergus kind of heads out the door.
You hear him dinner's on the adventure, gals, and there's some cheers and they some general what is the word, ruckus, but not in a it's excited talk.
Chatter.
Yeah, chatter. There we go. Thank you. It's not ruckus. It's not what I want, but it's all I can think of. So there we are. Chatter.
Could Cookie like do a roll or something and see if she maybe could have heard anything like side conversation, not just from like Fergus and his people, but like the people around them to see if
Sure.
there was anything that piqued their interest or anything?
Yeah, absolutely. Perception.
16.
Okay. So you could hear some of the other people at the table chattering, and there were a couple of little jokes about like who doesn't participate in their own union. Come on, and there's some general chatter amongst the other tables. A lot of it was that was like more notable was other individuals taking interest in this conversation. Adventurers are really easy to pick out in an environment like this because there's the people that live there and like are on the same sort of like living condition and level, which isn't to say it's bad. It's just like they're familiar with what you look like when you're from a region and you work there, and then somebody comes in and they're decked out in like armor and have a big ass sword, and shit like that, and it's like, I see an adventurer is here. So there were like little side conversations about the new boss, Holton. The assistant's name is Samwise. Seems like they're both halflings. And they didn't say anything that would have answered any of Fergus's questions, but there's additional side information, like they've seen them out and about and doing things that would be like schmoozy to people who also weren't like mine workers. And it seemed like there's probably there's like a meeting coming up between them and somebody else that isn't somebody who owns the mines, but is like another merchant of some kind that they've been preparing for.
So I guess, would it be possible to deduce if they have any link to what we're trying to do? Or is that just like its own small town thing, or is it? I guess we would have to investigate further to see if there was a link.
Yeah, it would be
between
pretty
the new
hard.
dude and okay.
Yeah, just the information you have is like somebody's trying to, at least the word on the street is that somebody's trying to frame the guild. These like druid pools are being poisoned. That's something that's going on in the forest, but there
That's
were
right.
operatives in cities that had like ended up leaving and stuff. So it's not like everything that's happening is isolated to specifically the forest necessarily. That's something that you could deduce because people were withdrawn from cities because of the like bad vibes. the failed vibe check that the guild received based on these like accusations that are purportedly false.
Sure. Okay. Well, I think they wouldn't. Cookie probably wouldn't investigate much further and would probably just follow Fergus because she's like, well, I don't really have anything really to do, so and just kind of keep an eye on him and and see what he's up to.
Okay. Yeah, and Ellio is just kind of like trailing around with y'all. Eventually, they'll end up taking a room at the Bold Brazier. I almost called it Brazier again. As well. They don't mention they don't pick anything out of the book from what you can tell, at least. Just get a room. That'll happen eventually, but they'll kind of hang out with whoever is like out and about until everyone settles for the evening or something.
Hello and welcome to The Break. I'm Bryce. I'm sure you've heard me before in the parts that weren't The Break, but now you're in The Break, and I'm a new cool Bryce that wants to tell you about a podcast called Baldur's Gate Baddies that is in this podcast. It's a meta experience, and you should listen to it also. And I DM that one along with Becker's. You've met her from the thing where they tried to sleep with a man. That's not in Baldur's Gate Baddies because they're a different person in that one. And also there is Miranda and Jazz. You might not have met them before, but they're cool and they're over there and they live in the city Baldur's Gate and there's adventures, but also they do crime. And if that sounds exciting, you should find the episodes that say Baldur's Gate Baddies and listen to them. and maybe it'll be in its own podcast feed. Maybe not. We'll see. And you can see on the next episode of Baldur's Gate Baddies coming at some point. And now, back to the show.
Is there anything else in specific you were intending on doing with your evening, Fergus? Or are you going to retire?
Fergus is headed to this guy's house.
Okay.
Oh gosh.
All right. Are you accompanying them, Cookie?
Yeah, she's gonna follow him.
Like at a distance? Does he know you're there? Are you like...
I'm probably like a couple steps behind him because I imagine he's like beelining or he's like walking with a purpose.
I think when Cookie came out, Fergus was like, I'm gonna go see what this guy's whole thing is. I'm
okay.
headed to this guy's house.
Well, I think she'll be like, "Well, do you think that's a good idea? We should probably. I know people are resting right now, but we're gonna need to, get going like in the morning and stuff. Should we really be? Because I don't know if we should be meddling in this.
Exactly. We've got to go in the morning. So if I'm gonna find out what the heck this guy's thing is and what evil halfling things he's up to, I need to do it now."
Okay. Do you want me to come with you?
I mean, if you want, I don't know how. Like, I suppose he's got a friend, so I can punch the first guy, and then you can like kick.
Can we
second...
just avoid punching people and just kind of?
So just like tie them up and then like dangle them from a window.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do with these people?
We're gonna find out what evil halfling things they're up to.
Is Fergus racist?
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Fergus 100% hates halflings.
Oh my god.
That's why I laughed so hard. Genuinely, the role gave you a halfling.
Oh my
Genuinely did. And I was like, shenanigans. But yes, Fergus has a prejudice.
Yeah.
I hope to work through that at some point during this podcast. Or to learn why and then work through it. That would be good too.
Fergus, I think that's a bad idea.
I think if you're familiar with the movie Shrek, you know why.
It's like you don't know he's doing anything evil.
Is Katie trying to figure out what from the movie Shrek would make Fergus hate halflings?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Are you equating
Is
Lord
it just 'cause
Farquaad to a
Farquaad's
halfling?
short?
Yes.
Okay.
He's human.
Okay.
So that's goofy.
No, they didn't have halflings in, but I would attribute Lord Farquaad to a halfling. I would consider him a halfling.
Yeah.
There are literally animated gingerbread in that, so I don't think it's too much of a reach for Lord Farquaad to have been a halfling.
In the musical, they considered Lord Farquaad to be Grumpy the dwarf's son.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
So he's a
about
dwarf,
that.
not a halfling?
But I would say that Lord Farquaad's like dwarves are a little bit bulkier. He's got more of a halfling build than a dwarf. I would
That's true.
I would consider more of a halfling. And
Definitely more of a Frodo vibe to him than a Gimli vibe to him.
Yeah. So yeah, Fergus hates Farquaad, or Fergus
Especially
hates
the haircut.
halflings because of Farquaad.
Okay.
I think like that's the only halfling he's like really like met or encountered, and he's like, well, that's your base halfling is Lord Farquaad. So he thinks all of them are evil shitbags. And Fergus is headed towards the new boss's house.
Okay.
So he's just ignoring Cookie.
She's
This is a bad idea and you shouldn't do it. It's like you don't know he's evil.
Fergus is like, pretty sure he is, but we'll find out how evil when I get there. Fergus is walking towards the deal at this point.
Okay. Before we do that, then, does anyone have any particular questions about how their evenings go? Do you want to see how good your massages are, your conversation is? Totally happy to do rolls.
Yeah, let's roll some.
Okay.
Let's have a roll in the.
Who would like to go first? Sounds like Morthos is going
Okay,
first.
I'll do it. All right, so I want to just give you the overview of what I think Morthos would do or is
Okay.
doing.
Yeah.
Basically, he's going to continue ordering, courses, drinks, food, but as people come, he's going to try to invite them in and like have them stay. And so he's
Like
going to try
the
and do
staff?
he's going to have to like throw a party. That's his goal. And be surrounded by people.
I love it. Okay.
Is his room adjacent to Belladonna's or not? Because it was not clear if that was okay.
It's kind of okay. So you know how when you're out at a restaurant, in the before times, I remember doing such things. You're out at a restaurant and it's like you and one other person, and you order your food, and then the server comes at the end and they're like, 1 check or 2, because you're like, don't know who, what's the sitch here, right? It's kind of like that with the room keys, where like you say it as like I don't know what to assume here, and so she had the 2 keys for the like unrelated rooms and could have done the like swap to be like just getting conjoined, but didn't because Bella said not to. So the party idea is lovely and adorable, and I am totally on board with that. Every time you ask someone if they'd like to stay, they said they can, but it will like their time has to be paid for, basically. Not in like a rude way, and like a totally like smooth and like absolutely, what is the scope of the time
I
here
think
and when you
Morthos
are
kind of waves that off, just like, yeah, it's fine, whatever. Don't worry about
okay.
it.
Sure. Then each person who like comes to bring the fresh drinks, the next course, the whatever that you ask to stay, totally can. You are informed that this will. They don't make it sound like those are premium things, so it doesn't sound like it's going to be like egregiously expensive. The paid services have costs next to them. The personal services, yeah, you can totally create a whole party in your room by the evening. And I would say that something that you note pretty early on is that once you are inside of your room, you cannot hear anything that's going on outside
Okay.
of your room. You don't hear any, like, you go to an inn and the people next to you like snore or whatever, and you can kind of like hear it through the walls. Nothing like that. Absolutely nothing.
Oh.
All right, so
Magical
Morthos,
soundproofing.
is throwing a shindig.
Fucking Rager in Morthos'
A
room.
rager, yeah.
With just the workers of like, please stay.
Yeah, just please. Oh, I'll hang out a little while longer. Come on, you guys know each other. I'm sure you want to like.
I just want to have like a normal fucking day with normal fucking people who
Cut it
aren't like
loose.
turning into
Yeah.
mermaids and being hunted by harpies and shit.
Like,
I love it. I love it.
have you met Billy? He's the housekeeper. Yeah, we work here.
Yeah, so I think Morthos would like schmooze, but like try to encourage people to be like having a good time, but not necessarily super like a little Great Gatsby kind of, right? Like he's at his
Ooh,
party, but he's
okay.
not like, he's like pulled back a little bit.
Okay.
He's like doing that.
Make me a perception check and an insight check to see how well you gauge like what your how well your goal is coming to fruition.
Okay.
These are not going to be super high DCs. Oh,
Nat
nice.
20 on the perception.
Hey.
Nice.
And
You can see through the wall.
3 on the inside.
Okay.
You see everyone,
opposite.
but have no idea what they're feeling.
This is going well, but no gauge.
You're like, you see a rat in the corner, be like, I wonder if he's having a good time.
So I wouldn't read a 3 in this situation as you being like, I cannot tell, like what's like how this person is feeling. The way I would see this is like you're looking around, there's beautiful food everywhere, even as the person like bringing the next thing comes in and you invite them in and they agree to stay and deals are made, whatever. Very quickly and smoothly, of course. They like set down everything they brought in like an aesthetic way. Like the whole room looks like a party. Everything looks delicious, smells good. People are laughing. They're talking. Periodically, like a joke will be told or music might start being played, especially from Verm, the inspired musician. Everybody seems to be having a super great time. They're all talking, laughing, having fun. The thing that occurs to you at some point during the evening is like, if I'm paying them to stay, are they actually having fun, or do they look like they're having fun? And when you try to like gauge, it's impossible to tell whether it's like an act or not. But you observe nothing that to you would indicate that anyone is like obviously faking having good conversation or laughing at a joke or anything like that. Like, you feel satisfied that as far as you can tell, everybody's having a great time.
But there's like a little inkling in the back, right? Just this little thought I can't get rid of.
I mean, that's kind of like that's up to you. I think for the way,
not with that
for
insight.
the situation. Well, so the way I think that I think we've had this insight conversation before, probably, right? But I think that there are different. The reason why DCs exist is because different situations to be different. If you're in the middle of like a diplomatic negotiation, people are intentionally, you're walking into a situation where somebody could be poker facing you. And so it could definitely like eat at you. But everything from the moment you stepped into this door has been easygoing, smooth, relaxing. And so like if Morthos is like, oh God, I can't read these people really well, it could bother him. I feel like because Morthos isn't proficient in that would be up to whether he gets, like, that's so important to him that he focuses on worrying about it. I think for the purposes of this, there's no reason for anybody to not be having a good time by hanging out with people. Like, honestly, if you were working in this environment and your job was to run food up and downstairs all day, even if it was in a cushy place and people seemed nice, and you were for the evening like nabbed out of that and got to sit around and eat food and joke around with people that you work with, like, it'd be like going to a work party, you know? Like, can't be the worst thing ever. So if it does kind of eat at him, that would be like a personal decision. I wouldn't impose that on you because they don't have, like, there's nothing that you observe that makes you feel like anything could be amiss. It just genuinely looks like people enjoying each other's company and interacting with you as much as you, like, you can tell that these people react to you very well in the sense of reading like your body language. Like when you say something to them, they engage with you, and then when you like withdraw at all, they do as well. It's all very graceful. So however aloof you do or do not want to be always works perfectly, and there are no awkward situations around that too. And I think that you could probably surmise, even with a low insight, that that's probably just due to the nature of the place.
Okay. How many people can I get to stay the entire night?
You said one of everything. 16.
Okay.
Eventually, some people might like start like falling asleep in like lounge chairs and stuff like that, but they don't look like upset by that. They literally just like grab a throw blanket, put a pillow down, recline in the chaise, talk until they fall asleep or look tired or whatever.
Okay. I think Morthos is pretty pleased. Like, he's like, okay, this was kind of fun. Maybe I made friends or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything about the interactions all are like, they're satisfactory in whatever like goal Morthos had. If you want to like ask them a question about something, they'll answer it, you know? So like,
okay,
he genuinely is going to, it's up to you whether or not you feel like you achieved your goal, but his experience is pleasant. Absolutely. From start to finish. Anyone else have any specifics they would like? Performance checks? I'm kidding. I just wanted to see Becker's face when I asked that.
I do want to know the progression there.
I think we all want to know how that went. Becca's
That's up to you if you want to.
Lady is never a kiss and tell.
There you go. There you go.
Just know, like, there's food deliveries constantly coming in throughout the night. And, like, every time the door opens, there's just, like, raucous laughter. And it's just one person. It's just Bear laughing.
I was going to be like, is there more than one person? Like,
I love it.
It's just you and
then eventually there's no more laughter.
Berwin.
And also no more food deliveries.
And no more food deliveries.
I mean, you gotta
The door's just not being open, so we just don't know what's going on.
Did we click? Are we friends? Did we have a good night together? Or, not?
Did you just not see him
maybe-
leave?
Maybe we just had a friendly time.
Yeah.
Or more.
That's
or
what we
not
want
more.
to know.
Yeah,
Who
Beggars.
knows? It's a secret. You'll have to ask Bear later.
You'll have to pay a premium for that.
That'll be in the tell-all memoir later
And
on.
that'll be in the Patreon
Yeah.
exclusive.
I'm on the Patreon for the exclusive adventure of the one shot
Bear's
of
night.
Bear's special night.
Bear's special night. That could be a special episode. One-on-one
my
episode.
God.
Oh my God, that would be so fun.
It would be
Anyway.
funny for sure. Just like a 30-minute. Anything specific for you, Darian? Bella?
No, she really is just like decompressing as much as possible.
Okay. Yeah. Everyone has a great time.
Did you take a bath?
Yes. Took a bath, did my own pampering of sorts. Bella doesn't like other people though, so she just had food brought to her door, but just like, don't talk to me, leave me alone, thank you.
I mean, I'm curious about water plus Bella.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, when she took the bath.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I took a bath. Did I turn into a mermaid in the bathtub?
What what specifications would you have made for your bath? I know you wanted like essential oils. Did you want like
Just like a bubble bath, probably.
bubble bath?
With a little bit of scent.
No mermaid tail.
Cool.
You should get to have baths.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
I'm happy about that.
You have
for
to
sure.
take bubble baths or else it's mermaid. Specifically, if you need to go into the ocean, just bring a bath bomb. Good to go.
Sugar bath bomb.
There we go.
The essential oils that you picked, you could pick scents for all of the products that you use. And when you specified what essential oil that you would like, you had the option to include that scent into any pampering products or like hair aroma, like hair oils, things like that too. So full spa experience. Onto the Halflings' house, apparently. So they said something like house on the hill when you were talking to them, and you make your way across town. It's very easy to find the mines because they're in the mountains. So you head towards the mountains, and a mining operation is something that is pretty straightforward, easy to notice. You see like general work set up. You see what is probably like a foreman's office. And when they said house on the hill, they literally meant house on the hill because cut into one of the sides of one of the mountains really far away from the mining operation, of course, in an area that seems probably safer and won't collapse at any point. There is literally a house sitting on like a cut out portion of the mountain that's held up by like a retaining wall. So they've made themselves a literal house on the hill that can be reached by ascending several stairs.
Fergus makes his way as close to the front door as like, I don't know if there's a gate or
Yeah.
a guard or anything, but
This town has a pretty like mild nightlife. There are areas that are louder and quieter. The mines themselves are pretty, there are some like security, like guard type things, but it looks more like private, not like city guard, and like more just some people posted to keep an eye and make sure no one just goes and wandering into a mine shaft, right? So you see a couple of people like that. There are some like torches and stuff throughout the operation. As you get closer to the literal house on the hill, there is a gate surrounding it. It's kind of more, it's like, I don't want to say compound, but there is like a high stone wall around that would act like a fence, but would be taller. It's like a privacy fence, like a tall one. Obviously, you can still see the house, but the surrounding area that you wouldn't be able to see from like typical, like bottom of the mountain, groundish level vantage points. It's pretty enclosed. You can tell that there's like a stable because you can see like the roof of it and things like that. But you can't see like a lot of what's going on around the grounds. And there are people posted around the outside. You would see this from far enough away that you could approach however you would like. So do you think that it would be more of like walking up to the door of the gate, or would you be clandestine in your activities?
I think as Fergus is making his way through town, he is like removing his like shoulder bracer and kind of like removing some stuff that makes him look more like an adventurer and kind of revealing kind of his more like royally garb that's kind of underneath his, which is it's still a little bit dirty from the life, but it's kind of been somewhat covered by his more like armory stuff, and kind of trying to like look a little bit fancier as he's like kind of made it like stuffing his like armor into his bag. And
Question for you. Sorry. Did you take the noble background?
yeah, he has the noble background, which like I've never used it, but yep, I have the noble background.
Unless you didn't want this, then with the noble background, I would generally allow you to have whatever your noble garb that is with you to be would be the kind that would be enchanted enough to have like cuts mend themselves, like the mending spell is kind of like enchanted into it, as well as like a prestidigitation sort of thing where it stays pretty clean. It's like stain resistant, like those shirts you can get where you like if you spill juice it just wicks off. It would be like that if you wanted, but I know that might not be super thematic for Fergus specifically.
Yeah, I don't think that would kind of match his. I feel
totally
like
fair.
Yeah, his like the clothes was nice once, but it is at the very least very
They're
dirty.
worn.
Yeah, it is worn.
Mhm.
I think
Okay, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I like the best looking parts are probably the ones that have just been covered by like his armory stuff.
I imagine it to be like the parts that are exposed under the armor are a little more sun faded, so it's like there's like a little bit of that to it, or maybe like just like that's where it's more dirty or something.
Yeah.
Got a farmer tan on your clothes.
on
Yeah.
your clothes. Yeah.
And then once he's kind of removed like down to his like nicest stuff, he kind of makes his way to the very front door and
Okay.
knocks on it.
And Cookie, are you just going right along with him?
Cookie is trailing behind, but I don't think she's not gonna be like with him. She's just kind of keeping an eye on him from a distance, because if things start going very bad and he's gonna like try and hurt the halfling, then she will intervene.
Okay.
But she's gonna like kind of let him do his thing to see how far it goes, I guess.
Okay. So as you were to approach Fergus then, and Cookie, you can just tell me at any point if it comes up, you tell me how far away you've stayed, whether or not you have or haven't hidden. Like that's totally up to you, and you have free will to do whatever, obviously,
Mhm.
during this process. You start to approach, and the like patrol that is standing both at what looks to like be like the main gates. It's one of those setups where there's two big like wooden doors, and they have both like human or humanoid entrances built into them, but also would open and swing open for like a carriage to arrive inside. So there's multiple ways for this to open, and there are 4 people that seem to be posted just right at that sort of entrance, and then there are a couple of sort of like patrols around the outside, and they all seem to be wearing, it's dark outside. Do half-orcs have not night vision, dark vision?
Dark vision.
Night vision.
I would
I'm
think
pretty
yes,
sure
just
he
because
does.
every
I'm
freaking
pretty sure
person
Bear
does.
is the only one who doesn't have dark vision.
I think yeah,
that's true.
it's almost everyone but humans and like halflings, I think, are the only ones that don't also have
I don't
dark
think
vision.
Yeah.
Like
half-elves
weirdly.
do either.
Dark vision up
Oh,
to
maybe
60
half.
feet.
Yeah. Okay.
Stupid
So you
halflings.
can still, in places where it's brighter, you can see color, and in places where it's not, everything is black and white to you. So when you're pretty far away, it's hard to see like what they might be wearing. But as you get closer, when they pass by like firelights and stuff, you can see that they're all wearing similar garb. So you approach, and the 4 standing around that like gate area kind of like stand up a little straighter. Nobody addresses you. They just wait. It seems like they're not like standoffish or pointing anything at you, but just waiting for you to initiate.
Are they blocking the deal? Or are they trying to sit? Because like Fergus would just be trying to go up to the front door. Like as I don't, if there's a gate, he's trying to go through it unless it's closed. He's like,
Everything's closed.
okay,
Go ahead and make a perception check for me.
12.
Does a +2 mean you're proficient or no?
No proficiency, which
Okay.
surprises me. I must not have had the option because I feel like I would have taken that.
You probably picked survival for tracking instead of perception.
No, I am good at animal handling, history, intimidation, nature, persuasion, and stealth.
You notice that, so there's the double doors. There, or I should say like a double gate, and inset into each gate is a humanoid-sized door. There is a person posted near each humanoid-sized door, and a person posted, well, 2 people posted where the 2 gates meet. So they would be blocking your way in a sense, but the doors are also closed. So rather than it just being like a person standing in your way, it's like they're guarding that door. But as you get closer, once you're about 20 feet away, you do see over the top of this stone wall, like the silhouettes of figures pop up. You would be able to tell enough, even though they're silhouetted and it's dark, that they are they have bows and crossbows. None are drawn. No one's like making any like threatening gestures, but they are very ready when you get to that like 20-foot mark.
Hey. Fergus kind of tries to get their attention and be like, hello, is the owner of the mines around?
Well, he does live here, eh?
Yeah, is he here?
Inside? Yeah. They kind of like look up at the moon that's out. It's like the middle of the night. They're confused. It's a bit late to be calling on someone.
When it's time for business, it's time for business. And he kind of like pulls out a like heavy sack of gold. Like he pulls out a decent amount of money from his bag and is like, I think he'll want to see me. And he kind of smiles.
Can they just see a sack? Or can they see, do you like open it up?
He's like moving it in his hands so you can hear it. Hear the gold ruffling around in it.
I'm going to have them make perception checks because I don't know that the average person would be able to tell the difference between copper jingling and gold jingling. The 2 standing in the middle kind of like look to each other and look back at you. What's in the sack?
Money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
right.
I'm here to talk to your boss, and he kind of smiles, and he goes, I'm going to buy the mine.
Weren't meaning no offense, sir, of course. It's just a late hour and unannounced, and there's already a meeting planned, so just doing the job and gathering the data, as they say. Okay, is it gold in the sack is the real question, or copper? Because copper wouldn't be enough.
He kind of like looks at the guy like he's an idiot, then looks back at the mine and goes, yes, it's gold. And he like, I mean, and I think like he goes to say like, do you think your mine's not worth that much? But he's like thinks like, oh, he's talking to guards. What's the point? He's just like, yes, it's gold. and like you said, sun faded a little bit, but he is wearing like noble clothes.
Yeah.
So there is a deal of like, at a certain point, especially in the dark, I think it would sell the deal of like, this dude looks like he would be, you know, able to have the money to buy the mine. Just by
if they perceived things properly, and they rolled really poorly, so they're just, you know, if you go ahead and make an insight check for me.
12.
Insightful.
It's not that they are like questioning you per se. It seems like they are like hesitant and are like clearing information, right? So one of them says, "Can you just show us that it's gold? We can send a message inside."
He just, opens up the bag and pours some into his other hand. And actually, what he even does is he takes like, how many guys is there?
4.
He takes
4 on the ground nearby, but then there's above.
He takes 4 gold pieces out from his bag and just kind of chucks them through the fence and be like, "See for yourself."
They're on the outside, like
Oh.
on your side.
Oh, okay. I thought they were
It's like it's a stone wall, and then there's the double doors in the middle, and they're standing like out front in front of the doors. They're talking to you, receiving this information from you on ground level, about like 20 feet away. There are more people up on the wall that seem to be like guards patrol, and there are patrols like further around the sides of the wall. This is like a large area.
So wouldn't these guards be like really close to me then if they're not on the other side of the fence? I figured I would have really like right up to the fence.
I said that at the 20-foot mark, like people started kind of like popping over and looking ready, and then you started talking. So my assumption was that you stopped at that point. But I didn't.
I guess I had figured that I was pressing forward until literally they stopped me or something.
Okay, so then I mean, if you're right in front of them, then so how to explain, just so that you have the context, they're not questioning you necessarily. And even when you're like, do you not think that, like, why would I try to buy this with copper? You know, it doesn't even really seem to phase them. It's really just like, it seems like they have like a process they follow, even at best, if that makes sense. So as opposed to a situation where you would encounter a lot of times where you walk up with a big bag of gold and are like, get me in the door, and somebody's like, yes, sir, right away. That just doesn't seem to be the response here. And that's not because you're doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
Like it's not that they're not responding well to you. It's that that's just not the response you get with that impetus. So if you toss some coins on the ground or hand them to them or whatever.
If the guys, I thought they were on the other side of the fence.
Gotcha.
Me, but if they're right in front of me or on my side, I hand them each like a gold piece and be like, see for yourself.
Yeah, and you could you walk right up to them and they still they were waiting for you to talk. So we'll just say that conversation happened like within a personable distance. That's close. That's totally fine. So you can hand them the gold. Each of them takes it. They do the like bite thing, smell it, look at it, hand it back to you, or try to hand it back to you.
Fergus just kind of like waves them off when they try and hand it back. Be like, keep it.
You work for me now.
Yeah, right?
It's more of a thing that like, I don't need it. Like, who gives a shit? It's a gold piece to him. Like, trying to be like, my pockets are as full as I want them to be.
Yeah, this is so trivial to me, right? We're not authorized to take tips, sir, but we can filter it over into the donations for the orphanage or the poorhouse, whichever you'd prefer.
Do whatever you want with it. And he's just like at that point he's like starts like tapping his foot and like looking at his hand that doesn't have a watch on it. I'm just like, how long is this gonna take?
Mm-hmm. We'll send a message inside. Hey, Steve. Somebody peeks over from the top of the wall. They have a conversation, essentially saying like, send a message inside, see if the Lord is awake and is prepared to receive a guest and business proposition. And one of the like shadowier figures at the top, not shadowy, just because it's dark, disappears. They're gone for a while, probably about 20 minutes. Part of that is just because it takes a while to make it up the stairs. But they seem to be gone long enough that they were gone long enough to have a conversation or two. I'm going to make a couple of rolls really quick. Steve comes back, says, spoke to the steward, and he can receive you tomorrow, but is not interested in business propositions at such a late hour. If you would like to return on the morrow, then they will be able to have a brief amount of time around their other meetings to discuss it with you.
And Fergus just kind of like he looks a little like like Fergus is playing up his noble side, which like really like hasn't been seen. He is acting like very like pompousy, like very like oh you're fine. Tell your lord I will meet him for breakfast, and he kind of like just turns around and walks away, and,
Okay.
and heads back to the inns.
Okay. And it is, it is something that does occur to you as you're like presenting with intention this background and looking official, being a moneyed individual, having noble, fine clothing, even if worn. You would have expected a little bit different of a reception from the average place. At the very least, some sucking up, some taking your gold, things like that. And if this person is just a merchant who runs a fine like ship, they would usually still be interested in ingratiating themselves to nobles. So it's something that does just kind of like seem odd to you.
Yeah,
It's just not how you expected that to go.
if the dude's just interested in money, then you would think that it's like, oh, someone's here to give me money. I like money.
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently not that. So then I think Fergus is a little bit like even after he's cleared the distance and kind of is out of eye shot and stuff and starts like putting his normal gear back on, he's a little bit like ticked off that like that he wasn't able to like just deal with this tonight.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
But yeah, he makes his way back to the inn. I think he does go to the coal miner's daughter and gets a room over there.
Okay.
Especially because like that seems like the best place he's gonna find out more about the mine. And
That's fair.
probably by the time he's made his way up and down and people are probably gone home and stuff, but the people who work there would probably know more than the people about the mine than the people at the brothel.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's a fair assumption.
yeah, but Fergus just is like heads back, planning to just get a room and call it.
Okay. Sounds good. Cookie, you're kind of like standing by and join him as he starts to head back into town, I assume.
Yeah, probably.
While you're
Aaron,
watching,
Aaron looks a little ticked off about it.
while you're watching this interaction, you have the same kind of like, I mean, you're a person who is part of a family that runs a business. You've done your own work in like seeing guests and like hosting and things like that. And you know how you would treat, somebody who shows up and appears at least to be a moneyed individual and B, somebody who has some sort of connection to like a house of some kind, like a name, a lord of some variety. It kind of just seemed like an odd interaction to you. However else you feel about the motives and execution or whatever, it is a bit interesting that they didn't react the way that you would expect. Even just in being handed a piece of gold, normally even a guard would just be like, okay, pocket the gold. Sounds great. It was just odd. As you're perched wherever you have taken up a watchful position, Ellio kind of quietly says, why does he seem to dislike halflings so much, or at least this one?
I don't know. I don't know the story behind that. This is really kind of the first time we're seeing him react this way like this. So it's kind of news to me too. I'm honestly a bit shocked and annoyed about how he is treating this situation.
Do you think he thinks the person who bought the mine is poisoning the druid pools?
I honestly don't know if he's thinking about the druid pools at all. I just think he kind of heard the story and he's just kind of rolling with it. So, but that could be something.
He has mentioned unions a lot. Maybe that's just something that he was interested in.
Well, I'll have to tell you about the union thing.
My real life union negotiations is starting soon. Probably.
I see.
Yes.
Fun.
Yeah. That's why I'm like, you gotta participate in your union. Vote on your contract, people.
I was wondering. It didn't occur to me that that you would have one, and I'm glad you do. But I can't imagine being a part of a union and not voting on the contract. But anyway,
we got
Nikki, what?
we got effed over last contract negotiation. The union leader was fucking corrupt. But because we voted no on the contract, and they said not enough people voted, so we're just gonna pass it.
Mm-hmm.
That is some bullshit.
Yeah, that and luckily
This is a PSA from Dungeons and Gamers. Unions, vote on your contracts. It's really important.
Yeah, and pay
Vote in general.
and pay
Yeah.
attention.
Vote in general. Yeah, go ahead.
Pay attention to who and vote for your union president, because some of them shouldn't be your union president. And luckily, we have a new union president who got rid of bad rules. But
Good. Because people who seek power are usually the ones least qualified to wield it. That's a conversation for another day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I could see Cookie maybe if Ellio was cool with it. I know you said that Ellio was going to get a room at the Bold Brazier. It's like she'd probably be like, "Hey, do you want to have a sleepover? Can I room with you?" And then she could probably like fill them in on the whole union thing about what we did in about what they did in Baldur's Gate, not Baldur's Gate, Waterdeep.
I love that. Yeah, they aren't purchasing any other services, just some like food. That sounds totally great to them. They listen to the story excitedly, are just interested in general, like with what happened. At some point, like probably after the story and you have had like something to eat, neither of you need to sleep, like trances light activity, which can be like conversation and stuff like that. They mention, did you happen to notice the tracks on the ground that were outside the gate at that place? Not to go back to that, but the union story does explain a lot about how some of these interactions have gone, and that's a good thing for me to learn. But it just seemed to me like when they were talking about this person being busy and having meetings that somebody might have just very recently arrived because the ground was pretty soft and there were recent like wagon like wheels, like carriage wheels probably or something.
I don't sense, I guess Ellio noticed things, and can I have done an investigation roll, because I don't know if this will work specifically, but because halflings are favorite enemies, Fergus gets advantage on intelligence checks. Oh, it's okay to recall information about them, probably not to like learn information. So I guess if he happened to have heard something, I could roll.
If you would like to make a retroactive check, absolutely. Just because you didn't think of it then doesn't mean that like your character wouldn't notice something. I'm totally fine with that. And I would take into consideration that because Fergus is so motivated when it comes to halflings, that I'll just like consider that when I'm factoring the DC. Sorry, I didn't mean to just like click the microphone. So you could do an investigation. I think would investigation be?
I'm trying to look
What
at,
is it?
I'm trying to look at because the two things that I get advantage on survival checks to track my favorite enemy. I already know where he's at. He's at his house. And
I was going to say survival though, because if your investigation to me is a little bit more like hands-on, and if you're standing and having this conversation, I would feel like for a ranger it would be more like relying on what they know of tracking to like notice any activity in the area around them, if that's what you're thinking of.
I think the thing that would actually work best for this thing is if I have heard the name, if that name means anything to, like, I know the guy's name, both him and his assistant's name. Does that mean anything? Have I ever heard it before? And
That would be history.
yeah, can I roll history for it? And 21, and can I roll with advantage since that's recalling information?
You know what? Yeah, go ahead. That's fine. I'm into
okay,
that.
21 and 14. So 21.
Okay. So initially, it wasn't something that really came to mind. During the long walk and while you're there and having the conversation, you obviously have more time to like think about this. And something that you recall about the last name that this person had, which I definitely remember, and didn't forget to name them and then have to roll for a name for them. Oh my god, did I forget to write it down?
Who
I
are you
switched
talking about
away.
again?
The boss.
Holton, there it is. I found it.
Holton,
Tomal.
Tummel.
Thumbnail.
Yeah.
Holton thumbnail.
Yeah, something like that. Thummy.
Holton Tomal. You recall hearing the family name Tomal during your time. He was in I don't know if anyone else knows this. The city that you were in prior to interacting with the party. You remember hearing that name in association with like a wealthy, established, powerful merchant family. One of those like started grassroots style. Halflings had business involving like food. They like they owned farms and things, and have since like spread out and become like a notable name in terms of power. But they're usually in the mainland.
Okay. Well, this guy's
That's something you think of.
Yeah, this guy's over here. Okay.
Branched out. Yep.
Okay.
So, Ellio mentions that to you, Cookie, about the tracks. Sorry.
Yeah, the tracks on the thing.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, I guess that, I don't know, wouldn't isn't that kind of a common thing if they're a boss man? Wouldn't people be coming in and out all the time anyways?
Maybe. I think it depends on the person. Some are very reserved and don't allow people into their private areas. But lol.
OMG, lol.
But I think it like I could be wrong. We were further away, but it just seemed like really recent. Like the dirt hadn't settled after being pushed to the side, and so instead of normal time passing and it kind of just being a track after a while, it still had like the buildup from things being moved. So it just seemed really recent to me. So maybe they just weren't accepting the meeting because they already have important meetings planned, and maybe they have a guest or something.
Yeah. That could be. Yeah, we should definitely, once we see everyone in the morning, we should definitely fill them in on what we discovered, and we'll see what Fergus is gonna do.
Are you all going to form a union? Can adventurers form unions? Does it work if it's just 5 of you?
I don't know. Like, and then maybe they could go on and like talk about the different possibilities of what that would be like.
Forming an adventurers union, getting you all health insurance.
Yeah. It's like, all right,
life
we'll present them our PowerPoint in the morning.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Yeah. So you have a fun and, or I guess it's fun, a pleasant and interesting evening discussing various things like that, since you don't have to sleep. Unless there's anything else specific anyone wants to do. Fergus, the rooms in the Coal Miner's Daughter, much cheaper, like a silver a night. That comes with a meal, all that good stuff. You can have the meal as breakfast instead of dinner, since you've already purchased dinner. Unless you want anything else special too, which they have some like finer drinks and some find like a pie. You could buy a whole pie instead of like a hand pie kind of thing.
I
If
think
it,
I think Fergus just grabbed paid for whatever room they had available and hit the hay. I think
Okay.
I think yeah, Fergus has had a very long day.
fair. So,
Well,
go ahead.
I was gonna ask, what is a long day?
I love it. Yeah, I think with that, this particular day, however long it counts in your reckoning, comes to a close, and we'll start at the next morning. I imagine people probably trickle out at various times, depending upon how restful their evening was or wasn't.
Or wasn't.
Mm. Fair.
What?
Okay.
That's all there is. Yeah. So, who do you think would be the first person up and about amongst the lot of you? Who, like, does anyone intend to get up early?
Since I was the first person into the inn, I will try to be the first person ready to leave. So I don't know if there's like some kind of dining room where I can go and get like a glass of tea or cup of tea and just some light breakfast. But that's what I'll do to wait for my traveling companions.
Yeah, the version of like the inn tavern atmosphere at this place is like there's like a kind of specific area that seems more like a lobby, and then adjacent to that is a more open room where there's some nice dining tables, breakfast nooks, things like that, and you can pretty much get any normal, you can absolutely get tea and a light breakfast. No problem at all whatsoever.
Are they gonna like kick us out at any point? Like, we only got one night, right?
Prepaid.
Yeah. You did prepay. So initially the goal was one night, and typically people leave sometime between like breakfast and lunch the next day. If you were to stay longer than lunchtime, it would verge into second day.
Okay. So yeah, no, nothing like that. Okay.
Okay. You did arrive a little bit late, so you could you probably think, like, especially if you were to like ask, you could maybe push it into afternoon if you wanted or what have you. But because the like dining area is visible as you descend the stairs, anyone would be able to, whatever order you emerge in, Bella's down first and she's there sipping on some tea. And you can proceed with your morning and figure out where you're going next to let me know as you see fit.
I think Fergus didn't sleep super well. He was very like, he wanted to get shit done and it did not get done. So he's very antsy for like morning to come and to get shit done. So I think he like wakes up basically at first light. He ends up, I think he goes downstairs, gets like some light food for Rascal to eat. And just kind of like walks around in the early morning, just kind of like trying to calm himself. He like feels very antsy, and then yeah, after a little bit, he ends up coming over to the Bold Brazier and finds the group. I don't know if by the time he gets there, everyone's kind of assembled or not. But he
not if he's there early. I don't think
he like got up, walked around. I would say he probably spent at least an hour or so walking, just kind of like looking around. I think he did for sure probably walk towards the mine and kind of take a look at it like from a distance and see in the light what it looks like and get the general vibe of it.
Okay.
And then probably walk back to the Bold Brazier after kind of like seeing people, because I imagine the workers probably got there first light. I would.
Yeah. If you get close enough to see people like entering and working, You wouldn't see anyone that was familiar, but there are people there. Familiar in the sense of like anyone you saw around the night before who claimed to be miners.
Yeah, he just kind of like checks out the site and just like sees if it looks like a mine. Like, does this look like someplace people are actually working? And
yeah,
and then once he's just like, looks like a mine, he ends up walking back to the Bold Brazier, and I would imagine at the very least Belladonna's down by then.
oh for sure. Does anyone plan on staying in their rooms past like brunch time?
I would imagine Cookie and Ellio probably head down fairly early too. Maybe just like right behind Bella or something, basically. Or
Yeah.
soon after.
Okay, let's say by brunch time, everyone's out. Like a reasonable breakfasty hour, unless anyone intends to stay in. So I think Fergus would probably arrive after everyone was already downstairs.
All right, then Fergus kind of like walks up, finds the people sitting at the table, presumably. He just kind of walks up, like comes to the end of the table, and with a little bit of a grin, he goes, "Come on, everybody, we're going to breakfast."